Okay.
Yes, Mr.
So here, like this, we said Darwin still thinking that as each individual in a species has a certain characteristics or certain traits which make it different than the other traits that lead to the idea of breeding or selective breeding, that farmers and the people who are interested in raising animals and plants like this, they pick up certain individuals of this species which have certain or good traits and make them mate each other to ensure that the traits will pass to the new offspring or to produce new combination of traits that makes them. As we here could see, these different types of dogs, all of them are already originated in the same ancestor, the gray wolf. But as we can figure here, there are some differences between them, and there are some similarities that depend on what are the parents they are made to produce these different types of dogs. So like this, the idea of selective breeding and also the ideas about population that Darwin keep thinking or keep studying how the population grow in an area, and he observed that the population growth depend on the limited resources which found in this area, and we assume that if there is a population found in a place, the population will increase in number, keep increasing in number in high rate as we have resources that enough for them. But at certain moment, the number of population will be too much, or this area will reach that maximum capacity that could carry from individuals, and in that case the food will be limited or the resources will not be enough for all of them, so they will start a kind of competition. Regarding to this competition, some of the individuals will be able to win this competition because they have certain characteristics enable them to be better to survive while others will not. Okay, so like this, that means the number of individuals will die, and the individuals who will die, they will die carrying or taking some genes with them or some traits, while the other traits or the other alleles, the good alleles, they will keep with the surviving people, and that will pass from individual to another. That's start to create an idea about evolution in the mind, in Darwin's mind. Okay, that means Darwin start to believe all these factors prove that living organisms evolved from others, or living organisms they evolved from other species all over the time. But this idea was not accepted in that time because most geologists in that time they don't believe that the Earth have this long lifetime that allow a very complicated and long process to happen as Darwin did. But later, Darwin started to read a book about called Principles of Geology for a scientist. His name is Charles Lyell, and in that book he proved that the Earth is very, very, very old, and or it's already have a very long time, about 4.6 billion years ago. So that's here make Darwin sure about his idea that the Earth is already have a very long age, and the idea that different species are arised from other species start to come in Darwin's mind, and he started to put his theory that explains evolution. So Darwin theory of natural selection, that's the theory in which Darwin he started to write to explain how evolution happened, and actually it is considered the most reliable and the most applicable theory, and we believe that it's true till that moment. So what the idea of natural selection, or how Darwin he suggested that the natural selection. So here after Mendel ends his long trip, and regarding to all these data and all these thoughts he already gathered in these years, Darwin start to make his idea, okay, or start to publish his book about the natural selection. He called the book on the origin of species by means of natural selection. Okay, and in his book, he starts to suppose that evolution happened by a process called the natural selection. What is natural selection? We said it's the process by which individuals that they are better adapt with the environment, they survive, while the other individuals which they are not able to adapt or less adapt, they will extinct it or they will vanish. And that, of course, will lead to the passing of or inheritance of well-adapted traits to the next generation, and generation after generation we have picking the best alleles, while the other alleles which is cannot adapt with the environment they will vanish or disappear. And then Darwin stated that the natural selection process actually happened in 4 steps. Anyone can't understand what the meaning of natural selection, guys? Guys, anyone can't understand what the meaning of natural selection?
No.
Are you sure? Is it clear?
Yes.
Clear for everyone, guys?
Señor.
Okay. Darwin suggested that the natural selection process actually happened in 4 steps. The first step is overproduction. What mean by overproduction? Overproduction, he means that the living organisms, like for example, he give you this species, okay, or that's give you, for example, the spiders and different living organisms which live in this area. They will keep, okay, giving birth, okay, and as they keep giving birth, they survive and survive as there is enough resources. So, for example, here this spider's egg, okay, may contain from 500 to 1,000 eggs. Some of these eggs will survive and develop into adult spiders, and some will not at first because of any factor, some disasters or some eggs is already weak. Some eggs they will be eaten by other animals or whatever. So some will survive, then the others, okay, every individual gets its own combination of the DNA from his parents, which make each one of these spiders, which are going to hatch from these eggs, different than the other spiders. They are not identical, they are similar, they sharing some characteristics, but still different. Each one is unique. After a while, once we find that the food is not available and the resources is not available in the area they live in, they are gonna struggle for survive. That means they will try to find their way to get all they need or to satisfy their needs to keep surviving this. So during this struggle to survive, some of these animals, okay, will be able to adapt. For example, we are gonna find here the spider has a privilege that this spider okay, this one, okay, such as this wasp here, for example, some may be caught by predators such as this wasp. The wasp could kill this kind of spider, and in others they may have ability or they have some kind of traits. So for example, they could resist diseases. Some of them they may able to make cutter nets that they already protect them from others. Some of them they could dig more, okay, under the ground. So some spiders, okay, or the spiders which have a property enable them or a characteristic that enable them to adapt to its environment, they will survive. In this case, we call that the fourth step, successful reproduction. That means the best adapted individuals, they will have ability to survive and reproduce and produce new offspring and so on. So like this, the natural environment or the natural conditions selected what could survive. In that case, okay, it depends on what is the environmental conditions are. So in the past, we have a very known statement say survival, okay, for the strongest. But actually later we discovered that the statement is false because strongest not always the best adapted, because it may be the strongest but the natural conditions need the fastest or needs the longest or whatever. So in that case it's not that fair. So we said that survival for the best adapted here, or we said that the survival for the individual who could fit with environmental conditions. So we said fittest, and that well, fittest one, it means the one who carry or the individual who has the characteristic which make it more adapted with the environmental conditions, and so it could reproduce. While the other individuals which don't have these characteristics, they will not be able to adapt, and in that case, they will die gradually until they completely extincted, and their traits also will be vanished and they will not pass to the new generation. Okay, so like this, Darwin he explained how we could find that after generation of natural selection or natural selection after natural selection, we could find that some new species already they are completely different than their ancestors because we pick certain alleles in each generation, okay, which lead to a huge change in the last generation are produced. Is it clear here, guys? Is it clear, guys? Guys,
In
Okay, guys. So that's the end of our lesson, and tomorrow, inshallah, I'm gonna check that you answer your section review. That will be your homework. If you have any question, you can ask right now. So don't forget to make your homework. I'm gonna check it tomorrow, inshallah. Thank you and goodbye.